It's
So,
fine.
so now we've gone live completely. Yeah, so we should be live right now. All right.
There's 31 people waiting, so
That's good. Yeah.
should I let them in? Oh, it's getting more and more.
Okay, so that's tab. I'll just put over there and hide it. And then, so we can let them in. I'll just really quickly, I have to present.
Yep.
Yep. And then you can let in.
All right, let's do it.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hello.
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 Okay. We'll just take a few minutes to make sure that everyone who wants to join will be in the room, and we'll get started in maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah.
I hear nothing.
Hello.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
This is my first time attending this meeting.
Ah, welcome. Yeah. Glad you're joining.
Thank you.
We should have quite the crowd for tonight, so I'm looking forward.
Yeah, I don't. You're all from different countries, yeah.
Yeah, we invited all of our chapters, so yeah, many
All
different
right.
countries should be joining
Okay.
today.
I didn't know that. Yeah, this is my first time. I'm new to the application, though.
Ah, okay.
Meetup.
Oh, cool. All right, maybe just another couple of minutes or so before we get started. All right. Oh, Carrie, I like your Australia background. Nice.
If it's not sunny at home, I'm going to make it sunny in the background.
Good strategy. I hear outside it's like actually flooding in my backyard slowly. So yeah, I'm definitely living the palm trees here. All right. What do you think? Shall we get started, Chloe?
Yeah.
All right. So, yes, so hello everyone, and thank you for being with us tonight for our travel talk on some of the ultimate travel hacks to plan your perfect vacation. So just a quick mention, we're going to be putting this talk up on YouTube afterwards. So just in case you guys miss any of the information as we go along, you can get it there again. So yeah, my name is Juliana. I'm from JoinMyTrip. I'm from the USA originally, but currently living in Germany. And I will be your host tonight, but I have great support as well from Chloe.
Hi, guys. I'm Chloe, and I'm looking forward to sharing some helpful information tonight. Some of these tips you guys probably already have heard, but many more were new to us, and we found them super helpful in making our travel plans. So just before we start, we'd like to remind you guys to keep yourself muted during this travel talk. So if you're not sure how to do that, you will find the button in the left corner. But no worries, you can also ask your questions at the end of this travel talk. We'd also like to remind you to please use the chat respectfully. So if you want to share your feelings, you can use reactions during the travel talk, and you can find them by clicking the button in the bottom middle. So feel free to try any reaction now.
I see a couple. Cute. All right, so for the ones that are new with us, we'll go over a bit. We'd like to first introduce you a bit to JoinMyTrip, who we are and why we're putting on this travel talk. So for those new, if you've ever been faced with the challenge of wanting to go on maybe a super specific trip and you were very excited and you couldn't wait to start planning, but then maybe you couldn't find anyone to go with you because maybe they didn't like the idea or they didn't have the time, and maybe you didn't end up going at all. A lot of us have faced this problem, myself included, and that's why we created the platform JoinMyTrip. So the platform is a place where we connect trip leaders, the ones organizing, with trip mates. They can publish their travel plans on our platform, the trip leaders can, and interested trip mates can request to join along on their adventure. As a trip leader, you can actually earn a bit of money for traveling as well, which is super cool.
So really, whatever your budget, wherever you want to go, whatever type of travel activity you prefer, there's so many different options and opportunities, whether you'd like to be the one organizing or simply just packing your bags and joining along. So currently, our community is more than 140,000 strong and growing, representing the world's biggest community of trustworthy travelers.
Right, and that's really why we're putting on these travel talks. We have such a diverse community of travelers and travel lovers interested in connecting and growing together. And we just want to make sure that we arm you guys with all the information and motivation you need to get out there and explore the world. So if you'd like to check out our website, we'll be posting a link to that in the chat right now. Thank you, Kira. Yeah, so on to the main event. So we'll give you a quick overview of the topics that we're going to go over. So we'll give you some hacks through the preparation stage of planning a trip. So yeah, planning and packing, air travel as well, and tips for securing your documents and saving some money, and also how to find cool things while you're on your trip. At the end, we'll have a discussion section for you guys to maybe share some of your personal best travel tips or hacks that you've come across, and ask your questions to our team as well.
Yes, so first up, we have the planning stage. Some of our top tips include, first, downloading the useful things on your phone, such as Google Maps, where you can select an area, Google Translate, where you can download the language, and it's always a good idea to have an offline game or two, just in case you're stuck waiting somewhere, and even Netflix shows you can watch offline. Second, build your itinerary using Google Maps Trip Planner to save destinations and routes between, and you can save these offline as well, which is really helpful. And also, you can use comparison shopping websites like Skyscanner or Booking.com to find the best deals. So don't just go with your first option. Always look around and find the best deal possible.
Yes, and along that main route, when you're doing your search on these sites or otherwise, it's always a good idea to either turn on private browsing or delete your cookies before you search, because actually you can actually get a cheaper rate sometimes because they've saved your search before and maybe they know you're interested in a certain destination. But yeah, if you clear your cookies, sometimes you can actually see a cheaper rate, which is super nice. Next hack is frequent flyer miles. So when booking airfare, just make sure to create a frequent flyer account, honestly, with every airline you travel with. So some people only do it if they stick with a specific airline, but it's a good idea to just do it with every single airline because then you can rake in all the points from all the different airlines you might use depending on the prices of them. And yeah, it's always helpful. Lastly is before you go to a destination is to do your restaurant research ahead of time. So this will avoid any long waiting periods or bad surprises, and you won't be left with regrets of not getting that perfect bite. I've definitely made this mistake in the past and will always do my restaurant research ahead of time. So next up, we have some electronic tips for your travels. So our first tip is to pack a power board. Best with this, especially with extra USB ports as well. So that way you only need to get like one travel adapter if you need to buy one for the destination you're going to. And you don't have to choose which device you charge, either at the airport or on the road. Our second tip is to bring an external battery. Of course, there's actually this really strange tip that you can put it in the fridge to make the battery last longer. I'm not sure, I haven't tried this myself, but when I Googled it, it said that, so I'm definitely going to be doing that next time. Yeah, so external batteries are honestly a lifesaver on any trip, so I would highly recommend bringing those along. This one is for the iPhone users of you. If you can get, there's a specific like cord thing that actually is a splitter that lets you listen to headphones and charge your phone at the same time. So if you don't have like Bluetooth headphones, this is a really great thing while traveling, so you don't have to choose between which option. So next up, our tip is to get some noise canceling headphones, especially for flights, always a good idea. Yeah, definitely useful thing to have while traveling. My next tip is a really important one, to back up your phone or laptop before you go traveling, just in case, anything happens, like that you get stuck in the rain with your phone and it gets flooded or it gets stolen somehow or something happens. you always have a backup, at least that you had before your trip, so you're not left in the dark there. And finally, they have these really cool devices that you can buy. So there's one company called Tile, for example, that does this. It's a very, very tiny GPS tracking chip, like about like this size. And you can actually put that into your luggage or even your wallet. They're really, really small. And if your luggage gets lost or stolen somehow, you can actually track it on your phone and see where it is. So that's a really, really helpful thing to have while traveling, I think.
Great. So third up are some packing tips. The first tip I would give would be to bring an inflatable neck pillow instead of a normal one, which is much more comfortable and easier to transport and store. Second, I would bring 2 vacuum travel bags while packing, because this does not wrinkle the clothes at all. You stay super organized and you save overall space in the luggage, which is super helpful. Third, take a lock for lockers in hostels or to save your valuables anywhere in any public places, such as bus rides or anything like that. Also, it's really helpful to use a crossbody purse instead of an over the shoulder. It's much more comfortable and a lot more difficult for pickpocketers. Also, laundry soap. It's really cheap, easy to pack, and it helps you freshen up clothes on the go without sitting around a laundromat all day. So you can wash just a couple of things in the sink or in the shower, and you can hang them around the room to dry, which is super helpful. And finally, our last hack would be to save your hotel toiletries for your next trips, because they're always the perfect size to be accepted by airlines and a lot cheaper than buying specifically travel-sized items at the store.
Yes, for sure. So speaking of airlines, our next topic is air travel. So our first tip is to bring a scarf on your flights. If you get cold easily, and warm socks. Scarf can also, like if you have a larger scarf, it can also work as a blanket. So if you get a bit cold, it's a really good option to have. Our next tip is to bring wet wipes along. A lot of airlines are now offering alcohol wipes to cleanse, but for your body, it's a bit better to have wet wipes because you can freshen up really quickly and they're not as harsh as normal sanitizers. Next up, this is a tip from one of our team members, which I thought was really interesting. So if you check your bags in last, like if you're last in line to check out your bags, it's likely that they might come out at the end first. Otherwise, you can say it's fragile, the luggage, and they'll put a sticker on it that will make it priority. If you're kind of in a rush and you want to get your bags as soon as possible when you arrive, this is a really good option. Yes, so if you actually have too much luggage in hand, so some airlines, like Ryanair or some of the budget airlines only allow you an under the seat bag or just one bag on the plane, and they won't let you bring an extra purse or something. You can actually, this is a tip our colleague Anna showed us, which is really cool. You can go maybe buy something very small from the duty free and get a very large duty free bag, and then just put all of your extra items inside of there. And that way they usually won't question if you bought something at the airport. So you can even put your purse inside and just bring that along. So that's a really cool tip.
Yeah, exactly. So similar to the last tip, if you have too many clothes, you can wear a few layers on the plane to save yourself the luggage room. And in general, make sure to wear your bulkiest items on the plane. The cabin is usually chilly enough, so that wouldn't be like such a problem. And finally, if you're stuck on a long layover, but you don't want to drag your luggage all over the place, you can usually find lockers at the airport or at local train station to leave your luggage in secure location for a while you go out and explore the area. Then we've got tips for documents and travel financials. So first, make photocopies of important documents or scan them and email them to yourself and keep them in the cloud somewhere. It's always helpful to have a photocopy of it anywhere you are. Second, always have one backup credit card and some cash hidden in your backpack, just in case the unthinkable happens. You never know. And finally, when you're registering for a credit card, check if it includes travel insurance, because a lot of providers do so. So this also applies if you book a rental car or a hotel room or any type of booking.
So going on with kind of money things. So if you would like to get your local currency, so if whatever you want to do there, it's better honestly to just use an ATM at the destination you're going to, rather than taking cash and exchanging it there. You have to check for fees, but usually the ATM fee will work out to much less than the money lost in the exchange rate if you're doing cash. So that's really, really helpful tip. Also, another just quick tip with ATMs, especially kind of in heavy trafficked tourist destinations is to always check the port for your card to make sure there's not a credit card skimmer on there. Sometimes they can look exactly like the usual one, and you won't know unless you just kind of move it around a bit to see if it comes loose. So I always do that, and I think it's a really great tip just to double check. Also, yeah, more along with credit cards. If you'd like to make credit card purchases in a new country that has a different currency, oftentimes on the reader, it'll say ask you if you'd like to pay in the local currency or in the currency of your home country. And it's always better to pay in the local currency instead, because the exchange rate will almost always work out to be less than what your bank would charge you for exchanging that. So that's yeah, that's a really great tip. And lastly, for documents, is to get a RFID protection case for your credit card. So this one is a bit, yeah, a bit extra, I think, but it's really helpful because you never know who might be out there, especially in a very crowded area. These are special kind of cases or protection devices that you can put your documents or your credit cards in that protect them from being scanned by someone walking by. So yeah, that's a really good tip. And finally, we've got some tips for when you're on your trip itself. So if you're renting a car and you're picking it up at the station, sometimes you can ask for a free upgrade. So it doesn't always work, but sometimes you maybe booked a category that could include a bigger or nicer car that wasn't shown on the website. And yeah, you might be able to get it there, which is really nice. Second tip is to get a local SIM card or get yourself one of those like Wi-Fi eggs, so portable Wi-Fi devices, so that you are able to have data or internet on the go, because not everywhere will have as much Wi-Fi as you think sometimes, and yeah, if you really need it, it can be really useful. Next tip is to always visit the local tourism office when you're visiting. They'll give you some advice that the internet won't if you're just Googling on Google, like top destinations. Yeah, so locals always have better advice, of course. Next tip is that lunchtime is often the best time if you'd like to go to a usual kind of crowded tourist destination, as most people, yeah, will be eating, so it's usually a good idea. Next up, and this is one of my personal favorites, is to take advantage of free walking tours. So this is something I do as the first thing I usually plan into my trip, because the person is usually a local who's been around the city quite a bit, like, you know, every day working at this job. So they can tell you like all of the hidden little tips and tricks, or the kind of more up-to-date info. Maybe there's a new thing going on that you didn't know about and wouldn't be shown on a normal tourist site. So yeah, walking tours are a great way to get the kind of lay of the land. And our final tip is to ask around on local message boards for some secret tips and ideas as well. So yeah, like I said in the past couple of tips, like locals always know best, and it's better to ask them instead of just going online. So if you can find a local board, or like on Reddit or somewhere on Facebook, and just ask like what the locals would say is their favorite thing to do, or the best kind of secret idea, that's a really good tip for you.
Great. So before we head on to the discussion section, if you're feeling inspired and want to get together your very own travel group, you can check out our travel talk about how to find travel buddies quickly and easily, which is happening tomorrow on July 15th. So we'll give you guys a lot of input and information on how to set up the perfect trip on the JoinMyTrip platform. We'll share the link in the chat now. Kira is going to share it. Thank you. You also have the option to check out a recording of the past travel talk on YouTube, but of course it's not as much fun as listening to it live and having the option to discuss and ask questions in the end. But if you don't have the time, you can find it under the link that we post in the chat right now too. Thank you, Kira.
And if all of that isn't enough, you can still book a free training session with some of our other lovely colleagues shown here, myself included, as you can see. And we'll take you through the process and answer any specific questions that you might have about creating a trip. So yeah, that link will also be in the chat, of course.